Hello friends, this is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and today I want to do some conspiracy theories. I want to talk a little bit about what's to come in February. Now I know a lot of that has been speculating, but some new evidence, some new information has just come to my attention. Now, if you've been watching YouTube, then you saw Arnold's video, you saw Mobile Gamer's video, and you saw the Cup Show, which was actually pretty funny. Now, there's a lot to unpack from all of that information. First and foremost, GamingFans.com broke the information that the February login character is going to be none other than L3-37. Now, typically, we have seen the login character somehow indicate or somehow be a part of whatever is kind of setting up for the coming months. And even in the video, or if you go to gamingfans.com, or you can see this picture here, it kind of looks at all the stuff that, you know, it breaks down all the months leading up to today, right? So in January, you had Slave 1, that unlocked the Millennium Falcon. In December, you had Ewoks, that unlocks C-3PO. October was the Night Sisters. You had Night Sister Spirit as a character. September was Rebel Officer Leia Organa. You got the Chewbacca event, right? And it goes all the way back for these characters. Now, not always do we get some major character. Not always do we get some major thing. But, like, for example, in August, we had Dengar, and then there was the Bounty Hunters were added. We had some Bounty Hunter reworks, and we had new Bounty Hunter ships. Really, really cool. Here's the thing. L3-37 could mean a number of things, or as is the case in November, it could mean nothing, right? If you look here, we've got this list from June to January. You are leaving out November. November has nothing on it because November's login character didn't connect with what would have been a rework, what would have been something important, what would have been needed for that month. Now, again, speculation was that General Grievous, Clone Troopers, all of that stuff was to be reworked in November. It didn't happen. So what I think is it was going to happen, it got moved. I mean, the evidence is here that that is the case, right? Now, L3-37, what does that mean? I mean, what? And a lot. That could mean a lot of things. Now, this video is a speculation video. Now, the first part of this video is going to kind of speculate as what it could mean, what it probably means. The latter half, however, is going to speculate more about the more far-fetched. I've come up with some really neat strings that I've been pulling on, and I think I've uncovered what we could be getting. Now, again, guys, take for a grain of salt the second half of this and the first. Everything here is subject to interpretation. It's subject to pretty much anything, right? Again, I do believe that November was the month that we were going to get General Grievous. Something took place, and it had to change, right? Drop of the hat had to change. They threw a new character in. It happens, right? It happens from time to time. And when it does happen, it sucks for the community because we prepare one thing and a different thing happens. Life is full of surprises. We do what we can, right? But L3-37 as a monthly login character. Here are my thoughts. For those of you who don't know, who didn't read the book Last Shot, or who just haven't researched L3-37 on Wikipedia, she is essentially a carbon copy of HK-47, except that HK-47 is a dark side character and L3-37 is a light side character. Now, my personal beliefs aside, which I personally believe that L3-37 was created as a joke against Kathleen Kennedy, and then she didn't care for it, and then whatever. But L3-37 is a liberated droid. She freed herself from her master. She's woke. She's whatever. But she is a character that goes through and frees other droids. In the book Last Shot, she actually goes through and creates replicas of herself to then go out and free other droids, right? Very positive, very upbeat. No slavery, right? Which, you know, she says droid ownership is slavery. Whatever. That's a debate unto itself. The whole AI, I was listening to a conversation I'm not going to go off on. HK-47 did a similar thing, but instead of freeing people, he was killing people. So in a sense, he was freeing them from life. So they have that in common. But again, both of these characters create replicas of themselves to go and do what they were doing in the first place. So very possible. It could mean, as I have said before, L3 being a type and a shadow of HK-47. We could be getting HK-47 rework. Now, if you saw Arnold's video, if you saw the Cup stream tonight, then you saw this. Now, I took a screenshot of it. I probably could have asked them and they would have shared it with me, I'm sure, but they're good guys. If you look at this clip, if you look at this little snippet of text, it shows that there was a potential leak. Now, you have to take every potential leak with a major grain of salt until things start to be confirmed. Now, this potential leak is only looking at February, right? It's not 4 or 5 months in the future. It's just February. That does, in my mind, give it a little bit of credibility, but just because I want it to be credible. Here's the thing, though. This also could be false. This also could be fake. And until we start seeing things happen, until we see a road ahead post, we don't know, right? We don't have any idea. It starts off by saying General Grievous is going to get a rework from the 7th to the 14th. It says around the same time, droid factions will get a rework as well. It doesn't specifically say the Separatists, right? That is what makes me think that we could very well be getting an HK-47 rework. Because if they're going to be reworking droids, it makes sense to rework Grievous. It makes sense to rework the droid faction, or at least those that are just that terrible. But we're not getting a Separatist thing, right? Very possible. Then we have Darth Revan coming at the end of the month. According to information, it's going to be another hero journey that'll open up at 7 stars. You will require Cartho Nasty, Juhani, Ordo, Bastila, and HK-47. Now, HK-47's been in the game for a long time. A lot of people have him. It shouldn't be hard for even new players to get him. He's a fairly easy tune to unlock. Even if he's not a prominent character that most people who start off the game now are going to be focusing on. That might change. But Emo Bastila, Canderous Ordo are now both free to play. You can farm them. I've been farming them. I've got Canderous to, I think, 4-star about halfway through. I'm similarly there with Bastila. I don't think I will be able, if this is the case, if we are going to be getting a Darth Revan at the end of the February, it's going to be tough. And being a free-to-play player, I will not be able to get him. The aggressive minnow in me wants to drop a couple $100, but then the other person in me is like, no, you did that with the last Revan, and it was a terrible idea. Don't do it. So we'll see. But because that's the case, if this is accurate, a Darth Revan would make sense. However, it would also make sense for a character like a Darth Malak, because we have Jedi Knight Revan coming back a second time. We have all of the KOTOR tunes being free to play by the end of the month. It is possible we could see a Darth Malak. Very possible when you need Jedi Revan to get Darth Malak. That would make sense. It's not the first time that you would need a legendary character to unlock another legendary character. But here's the thing. Tonight on the Cup Show, if you haven't seen it, go back, watch it. It was pretty fun. SB Crumb. That's right. The SB Crumb, confirmed by Cubs fan Han, dropped a little hint. Now, SB Crumb, we all know, is an evil genius. He's a mastermind of puzzles and teasers, and is, I think, at this very moment, sleep deprived. He probably hasn't slept in weeks. He's probably plotting some kind of world domination. I'm not entirely sure, but it's very possible. He said this: clue, bring a hanky, the bees have left the hive. Does it mean something? Does it mean nothing? We don't know. So let's speculate a little bit. First off, bring a hanky. Who needs a hanky? Obviously, General Grievous. Why? Because he's coughing and he's got the flu, and motor oil gets caught up in your lungs because he's a cyborg. All of those things are possible. But he's coughing a lot, needing a hanky. 2, bees have left the hive. The Geonosians referred to their whole kingdom as a hive. I mean, there's an ability for the Geonosians called the hive mind. Part of an episode of Clone Wars was talking about how the Geonosians all become like bug zombies because they share one brain. Could we see a Geonosian rework? Could we see a territory battle on Geonosis? That would be cool. If that's the case, could he be speculating? Could he be hinting at either a territory battle, a territory war map, a new map? Could we be seeing a new raid on Geonosis using the clones, using the Jedi? Are we going to see a Jedi rework? Are we going to see a focus on the original trilogy tunes? Are we going to be seeing a focus on the prequel tunes? I don't know, but that would be really cool. Clone Wars rework, that would be awesome. Clones don't always need it. If you want to check out, I have a video that talks about how the clones should be reworked, which characters in the Galactic Republic need to be reworked. Now, here's the fun part. Let's speculate a little more wildly. Let's be a little more loose with our speculations. And please take this next part with a bigger grain of salt. But if I'm going to speculate wildly, I do need the proper attire. And I have got my tinfoil hat. Now, my wife told me that this actually looks more like a chef's hat than a tinfoil hat, but I do believe that she's working for them, trying to get me to not say this. L3-37. Back to her being the first part, right? L3-37 was part of the heist on Kessel. She was a major part of it. We could be getting the last remaining character who was part of the crew who took over the Kessel mine, and that would be Beckett. Now, Beckett is a really cool character. I see him as a Han Solo-esque style kit. I see him as going fast, being like super dodgy, like missing a lot of stuff, not being able to be hit very frequently. I see him like dual wielding stuff, and I see him doing a lot of damage. I see him being someone who is awesome. Very much a counterpoint to Han, or even a clone of Han, because let's face it, he kind of is a clone of Han. Now, if that's the case, could we be seeing the Kessel Run enter into the game? This is the way that I would break it down. Again, major grain of salt. Phase 1, you're on the mine of Kessel. You're breaking free, right? You have to fight all the bugs. You got to fight all the pikes, and you're fighting the Syndicate. You're breaking free. You're taking the coaxium, I believe it was called. Phase 2, you're actually in space, and you're fighting against that Imperial ship that kind of dominates the whole alley, right? Phase 3, you actually join or go into the Maelstrom and fight a tentacle monster. That's right, tentacle monster in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I said it, first person. Phase 4, giant space mouth, just the thing, right? You're fighting the eye or the mouth or whatever you really want to call it. Possible Kessel Run raid right there. Probably not going to happen. Most likely not going to happen. And if it does, there's no way it's going to happen the way that I said it. Here's the other thing. L3-37, who is it connected to? Young Lando. What happened to L3-37? She died, right? Or she became one with the, Millennium Falcon. When she dies, she leaves Lando alone. Now, in the movie, she states that Lando is madly in love with her and was like, yeah, it's a problem, And then Kira's like, well, how would it work? And then L3's like, it'll work. I'll get it to work. It would work. It's awkward for a number of reasons. But when L3 dies, Lando is unconsolable. He is sad. He needs to fill the hole in his heart with someone else. Who's that someone else? Lobot. That's right. Lobot, also kind of a droid, kind of human. And so, actually, he's human just with that cranial thing. He's not. Could it be that we're going to be getting a Lobot rework? Possible. Now, if we get a rework, what else is coming with it? Typically, reworks come with marquees and ships. But Lobot, I was thinking about this, like, what ship would Lobot have? Well, it would make sense to give us, like, the Cloud Rider for Cloud City, the little skiff, right, that supports the... But that's kind of a stupid ship. Why would anyone want that in the game? But then, you know, if they gave us the pilot and the ship, but that doesn't make sense because there's 2 pilots. And you need 2 pilots to pilot that ship. So it can't be the Cloud Pilot. Who could it be? Well, what ship do Lando and Lobot steal? That's right. Palpatine ship. If you go to the first Lando comic, it was released in, I think, 2016, from the reworks, right? The first Lando comic that was part of the new canon. You have this moment where Lando and Lobot steal Palpatine's ship. Super cool. Palpatine's already in the game. Right there. You make Palpatine pilot, which doesn't make a ton of sense, but it's possible, right? You bring in his ship, you make him a pilot, and, you know, the Royal Guard becomes, like, I don't know, a crew member or something like that. All of a sudden, Palpatine's that much more useful. The Royal Guard becomes useful again. And, you know, here's the thing. But what marquee character would we get along with that? Now, for those of you who think that the ship was empty, think again. On the ship, there was this mask. And, you know, Lando doesn't really think much of it. And if you didn't read the Darth Vader comics, then you didn't think much of it either, because it's just this ship at the end where whose eyes kind of glow red. It's weird, but you're like, well, whatever. Years later, jump ahead. That is a Sith Lord who helps Darth Vader build his castle on Mustafar, right? We could be getting the head of that ancient Sith. Now, will we? No, probably not. Like, I'd be 1000% shocked if that were the case. However, anything's possible. Now, if it's not Lobot rework, if it's not Palpatine ship, one character that I think that we need in the game, that I've said that we need in the game, that would be cool, that's both connected to Lando and then vicariously through L3-37, is Nia Nub. Now, Nia Nub, obviously co-pilot of Lando in the original trilogy, he is both a rebel and a resistance character, which would then make him dually awesome for this game, because then you can make him part of, like, Rogue Squadron, or you can make him part of Red Squadron, whatever. You could have him be a number of different things. He could be a pilot for the Resistance and a pilot for the Rebellion. All of that's possible. None of it's really likely. What we're likely to see is L3-37 as a rework. She is either going to be connected to whatever's happening in February or not, as we've seen in the past. If she's connected, I do think she's part of the HK-47 rework. I think she's part of the Droid rework, not necessarily the Separatist rework that's coming, but the Droid rework. Now, one last thing, and this is, I'm going to take off the conspiracy hat here. February is the month of Sith. Now, last February, I was able to go out to Capital Games and see the studio. In the Cup show tonight, Cubs fan Han and Arnold were talking about that. But it'd be really freaking cool for the Game Changers to go out in February. Now, typically they do fly them out when major events, major things are coming. It didn't sound like they had anything planned as of yet, but man, it would be awesome. I don't rightly know, but I think something big is coming. And if it is coming, maybe it's not coming in February, because the guys didn't seem to know anything about it. Maybe it's coming in March. Maybe it's coming in April. I don't know, but I do think something big is coming, guys. What do you think? Now, wild conspiracy series aside, do you think that it's possible that we could be getting these other things? Is it evidence of that? Or is this just a red herring? Leave a comment in the section below. Like, subscribe, share. Check us out on Going Nerdy. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter. Visit me on Discord, and let's talk about this. I love chatting with you guys. I love chatting with about all this stuff. Let me know what you think. This has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and as always, my friends, smile and stay nerdy.